Hello, folks. We're talking with Ric Edelman, founder of the Digital Assets Council of Financial Professionals. Hi, Rick. How you doing today?
Oh, it's great to be with you, Jeff.
All right, big news out of the SEC. They moved a step closer to approving the Ethereum ETFs, which I think now looks like a foregone conclusion, maybe a matter of weeks. But I'll let you just break that down for us. What does this mean for crypto investors and maybe investors in general?
Well, it's big news. Ethereum is the second largest digital asset, second only to Bitcoin. Between Bitcoin and Ethereum, they represent about 90% of the total market cap of the entire crypto universe. In other words, Bitcoin and Ethereum are the Coke and Pepsi of crypto. So if you are of the mind that you believe that a diversified portfolio should own all asset classes, then you do want to own crypto. And that means you want to own as much diversification within crypto as possible. We've only had the Bitcoin ETF to date. Pretty soon we will now also have the Ethereum ETF, and that's great news for diversification.
Okay. What about the pace of this decision? There's been some talk that it might be a little bit politically motivated to get this thing out there.
Yeah, we're excited that the Ethereum ETF is coming. As you said, it'll be several
Mhm.
weeks before they begin trading. We'll explain why in a minute. But I got to tell you that this whole process has been very, very frustrating for the crypto community, and it reflects complete dysfunction by the SEC and the White House. Gary Gensler has been very blunt and clear that he hates crypto, and he only approved the Bitcoin ETFs when a court ordered him to do so. Had that not occurred, we wouldn't have those products today. Now, if Gensler has been resistant to approving the Ethereum ETFs, and there has been a statutory deadline for the SEC to rule on this. The Van Eck application was first, and the SEC had to rule on this by May 23rd. Everybody in the crypto community was widely expecting that the SEC would reject the Van Eck application
Mhm.
because Gensler doesn't like crypto and he doesn't want to do these if he doesn't have to. And there was virtually silence from the SEC to all eight of the ETF providers that have submitted applications. And since there was silence, there was no amendments being filed, there was no questions being raised by SEC staff.
Mhm.
Everybody's attitude was the SEC is going to say no on May 23rd. About 72 hours prior to that, suddenly, without warning, the SEC began asking a whole bunch of questions to the application submitters, and
Mhm.
it looked like the SEC had a total change of heart. And we were all wondering, what's going on? Why did suddenly the SEC do this? And the word that's going around is that there has been political pressure on the SEC.
Mhm.
Over the past 6 months, the crypto community has established a number of PACs, and they've raised over $50 million, and they are targeting uh, candidates for Congress who are opposed to crypto. They have been successful in getting a number of candidates out in primaries, and they are now targeting other candidates who are in politically weak positions in their races. And so the word is that Chuck Schumer, the influential senator from New York, who, of course, a Democrat and represents the state, the home of Wall Street, of course, in the financial services sector, has gotten fed up with this and pressured the White House to change their tune. They went to
Mhm.
Gensler and said, enough of this. We are facing a political challenge in a number of districts where we are at risk. This could mean the difference of whether the Democrats get the House or the Senate in November. And so suddenly, shockingly, the SEC began to engage just 72, 48 hours before the May 23rd deadline. And it was such rapid astonishment of this happening that the SEC was racing to get the work done and managed only to get the 19B forms completed. These are the amended documents that the
Mhm.
firms filed, but they didn't have time to deal with the S1s. These forms are required to actually get these products to trade on the exchanges. It's going to take another 3 to 12 weeks to get that work finished before you'll see these ETFs actually enter the marketplace.
Wow, that's a lot. What are the chances of a little bit of soul selling here by the politicians and regulators that investors end up with something that maybe was rushed through?
Well, politics guides most decisions of a policy nature, and as appropriately it should. The overwhelming majority of people in the financial services industry, a very large percentage of the American public, are all in favor of crypto. More than a third of all U.S. households own Bitcoin. The joke that's going around the crypto community now is that more households own Bitcoin than dogs. Clearly, there's a lot of interest in this, and there is no legitimate basis for the SEC to be rejecting these applications because they're as legitimate an investment opportunity as any other investment. I mean, you can argue whether you should buy Bitcoin. You can make the same argument over whether you should buy gold. That's not the SEC's decision. They should make the products available and let investors decide. And so the fact that there has now been a lot of political pressure and a lot of money going into campaigns is finally getting the attention of politicians, and it's better late than never.
All right. All right. Will the Ethereum ETFs, assuming they're approved and put on the market at some point, will they become as big as spot Bitcoin ETFs have become?
Yeah, I believe they will. Ethereum is a huge dominant player in the crypto space for a really good reason. Bitcoin is widely considered these days a store of value, similar to gold. Many people call it digital gold. The simple being that, we're going to buy Bitcoin the way we buy art and collectibles and gold and comic books and rare coins. We're going to buy it because it's going to hold its value and over time rise in value. But Bitcoin isn't very good as a commercial asset, meaning as something you can use in transactions, because Bitcoin's price is way too volatile. And it takes too long for Bitcoin to settle transactions. It takes 7 seconds for a transaction to be settled. In those 7 seconds, Visa does tens of thousands of transactions. So Bitcoin isn't fast enough for commerce. But Ethereum is, and that's why Ethereum was invented in 2015. When I send you my Bitcoin, you immediately receive it. But in business, you don't always want the money to be transmitted immediately. I might want you to get my money only after you deliver something to me, a product or a service. If I buy concert tickets, I don't want you to get my money until I get the tickets. You can't create an if-then arrangement with Bitcoin, but you can with Ethereum. That's why it was created. Ethereum is something called programmable money, also called smart contracts, where I can lay it down in the code the condition on which you will receive my money. So only if it rains, or only if somebody wins a sporting event, or only if a candidate wins, or only if you deliver the deed to a house. So we can use Ethereum in commercial application to an incredible degree in virtually every industry on the planet. You can't do that with Bitcoin. And this is why there's so much excitement about Ethereum, and why it is the #2 digital asset compared to Bitcoin, and why we believe there's going to be a significant level of investor interest in the new Ethereum ETFs.
Okay, so it sounds like you're saying if you already own spot Bitcoin, there is a case to be made for also owning Ethereum, right?
Very much so. If you a pair of dress shoes to go to the office, you also have a pair of running shoes to go to the gym. And Bitcoin and Ethereum are very complementary to each other. They don't compete. They serve very different purposes. They have very different uses, and they both have a play in this new digital world we find ourselves living in. And most of the applications in crypto are being built on the Ethereum blockchain, not the Bitcoin blockchain. So it makes perfect sense that if you believe that you ought to own Bitcoin, you probably should also own Ethereum as well, if only from a notion of diversification.
Okay, really good stuff. Great update, and we'll certainly be in touch with you. Ric Edelman, founder of the Digital Assets Council of Financial Professionals. Thank you, Ric.
Anytime, Jeff.